Let me give you some arguments why I'm not holding NVIDIA anymore and present two alternative ways to invest instead and still benefit from the AI trend. Now, NVIDIA has been on a massive run, but I think it's a risky investment proposition right now. At the time of releasing this video, NVIDIA is going to publish quarterly earnings, so a few hours later after I've published this. And they might even be great. So I'm not pretending to time the market, predicting a crash or anything like that. I'm not a trader. And so, this is just my mid to long-term view on the AI trend, which explains why I'm not holding NVIDIA as a single stock. And before we continue, this is not financial advice because I don't know your situation. I'm just going to give you a few things to put on your radar so you can evaluate your own investment decisions. Now, the first argument against NVIDIA is, it's too early in this AI revolution. We are at the beginning of the AI revolution and nobody knows who the winners are going to be. There might not even be one winner or a handful of winners. There are markets that don't produce one or a handful of winners. And look at the early leaders, for example, of the internet revolution. So look at Yahoo as a search engine. Where are they now? Completely taken over by Google. Or BlackBerry and Nokia as providers of mobile devices, and mobile connectivity has been a huge thing during the internet revolution and how we communicate and work and operate today. Intel for microchips, AOL as a ISP, internet service provider, that concept doesn't exist anymore. MySpace for social media, so they are nowhere. They've risen to the top and crashed right down, so just beware of this. And history shows that finding like this real winner and that makes you rich overnight is extremely difficult. And another way to flip this around is think about the losers. How are you going to avoid the losers? And I'm pretty sure there's going to be a few of those. And you better not be in one of those, that can have a devastating effect on your wealth. Which leads nicely into the next point, is competition, right? So NVIDIA has produced extraordinary margins, and that will call competition. They've gotten most of the publicity in GPUs, and it just so happened that the GPUs are the best what there is at the moment to process these algorithms needed in AI. But there is competition on the rise. Look at Tensor processing units from Google, or look at Grok LPU, which is a processing unit specifically designed for large language models, such as ChatGPT. And so, this is going to be a competitive space, and what effects will this have on NVIDIA? The second argument I would make against holding NVIDIA as a single stock is the business model around AI and its valuation specifically. And what do I mean by this? So I don't think anyone has clarity yet how the companies directly involved in the AI supply chain are going to make money. And somebody will need to be making serious money to sustain buying the expensive hardware from NVIDIA. And, to quote some open questions made in the recent analysis by Sequoia Capital, they're a very well-renowned and very well-respected early-stage investment company. They've invested well in NVIDIA in their early stages. They also invested back then in Google and PayPal and Apple and Airbnb. And so I'll put it up here on the screen. I'll also leave a link down below. So what are all these GPUs being used for? Who is the customer's customer? How much value needs to be generated for the rapid rate of investment to pay off? Consider the following. For every $1 spent on a GPU, roughly $1 needs to be spent on energy costs to run the GPU in a data center. So if NVIDIA sells 50 billion in run rate GPU revenue by the end of the year, which is a conservative estimate, that implies approximately 100 billion data center expenditures, because the end user of the GPU, like Starbucks or Tesla or any other company, needs to earn a margin as well. I totally agree with this assessment, and these questions have been on my mind as well. Demand will be needed to be sustained, for chips being produced by NVIDIA. And if NVIDIA faces a drop in demand, this would affect all critical valuation metrics of the company. It would send the stock price down. And talking about valuation, let me just check my notes here. So the revenue and profit growth has been so high at around 200% and around 600% respectively for the trailing 12 months. This is super hard to maintain or even beat, so likely to go down. And the other one is margins of around 60%. This is an extremely, extremely good business. And to the point before, right, it's going to attract competition. And as the competition comes in, usually these margins go down. And that will potentially also send the stock price down. And then last but not least, NVIDIA trades at a PE ratio of 50, which seems relatively high, even in a peer comparison. So yeah, valuation is, at least for me, not compelling right now. And now the last argument I would make against NVIDIA as a single holding is, NVIDIA is only one part of how AI is expected to benefit the economy. And I will reference here to a McKinsey study made, which I think is extremely good, and I'll link it down below, and let me put it up here on the screen and quote a few findings. Generative AI's impact on productivity is expected to add trillions of dollars in value to the global economy. And generative AI will have a significant impact across all industry sectors. And just make an example of a company running a large customer center, like Bank of America. They spend billions in this area. Now, if they, with the help of AI, can even just decrease the cost basis through efficiencies provided by AI, that will translate directly into their bottom line and will increase their profits. So the point I'm making here is that the AI effects in terms of efficiency and productivity should spread across the economy. And chip makers like NVIDIA are only a small piece of the puzzle in all this. All right, so that were the three arguments. And what to make of this, what to do instead. Now, before we go there, I would really appreciate if you could subscribe to the channel. That would help tremendously. Thank you so much if you've done so already. And yeah, let's keep going. So how am I riding the AI wave? And let me give you a few ideas. A little recap. So NVIDIA might do fine and not collapse. That's not my point here. But investing right now seems very risky to me due to its high valuation, to unclear business model. And here's how I think one can benefit from AI with better risk-adjusted returns. And the answer is, although not very thrilling, but just bear with me, is going passive and just buy a low-cost stock market index fund. And because of the uncertainty, because of this highly disruptive nature of this technology and the expected widespread effect across the economy, because it's so hard to predict winners and avoid the losers, I think these are good arguments to just go wide, and if you ride the market, you'll do pretty well. So I do believe that this AI will lead to a productivity wonder. And there's numerous challenges in our economy these days, like aging population, or declining birth rates, and we need the productivity boost from somewhere to sustain this. And I think AI will be the answer. So I think it's all very positive. And I think it will send the stock market much higher because efficiencies in the companies will send earnings higher, fueled by AI. And so here are two alternative ways for you to consider. So alternative one would be like a tech index, like the NASDAQ. Okay, so it's very tilted towards technology if you want to have a focus on that. And the NASDAQ is up by 25x, so 2,500% since the internet revolution, so roughly. And now this is, I think, pretty good gains. I think you can build yourself a really nice nest egg if you just ride the NASDAQ and if you believe that AI is going to bring so much benefit. So this will be an alternative. And alternative number two is if you want to go a bit broader, you can even just do the S&P 500. To my example before, the companies that will experience efficiencies and will be able to cut down costs should see their earnings increase. So you could really invest broadly and also benefit from benefit from the widespread effect of AI across the economy. If you like me and you like some more international exposure, you can even just do the MSCI World and capture then the innovation that might also come from other countries other than the US. All right, so that will be it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, leave a like, and otherwise I'll see you in the next video. Thanks very much for watching. Take it easy. Bye-bye.